Secret babes hiding in plain sight. The History Channel has had some standout shows with a cast of quirky and endearing characters. But we noticed there seemed to be one type of character that these shows all had in common. An unassuming, reoccurring babe hiding in plain sight. I think we all can agree these ladies deserved much more screen time.
Oh yeah! This is awesome!
But maybe that's why they quit their respective shows for much more deviant endeavors. We got tales of leaks, dancing, and the adult industry. These gals went on to lead quite interesting lives, so let's dive in and go find out.
What happened?
American Pickers has been a mainstay of the History Channel for 22 seasons now. While antique collectors Mike Wolfe and, until recently, Frank Fritz trawl the country looking for forgotten treasures. While one woman keeps the operation running at Antique Archaeology. That woman is Danielle Colby, and she's made a reputation for being shrewd, graceful, and badass.
Looks good on you too. Well, it's America.
But fans of Danielle and the show haven't had much good news in the last few years. The show has been on hiatus for 2 years, and it was recently revealed that co-star Frank Fritz left the show and is dealing with serious health issues. Fans of Danielle have been nervous too. Could she be next? Let's go find out and take a deep dive into Danielle's past. While the antique business isn't always the most exciting, Danielle's personal life has always been far from dull. From a firestorm of a marriage to a new risque passion. You may not believe the drama and secrets that Danielle carries. What happens when the cameras stop rolling? And what has Danielle been up to since American Pickers went off the air temporarily? Let's go find out. But before we do, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Ready to get pickin'? Well, let's go find out.
What happened?
A messy marriage. Danielle Colby was born into a family of Jehovah's Witnesses in Davenport, Iowa. Because of this, she didn't exactly have the most normal childhood. Out in the Iowa cornfields, it seemed there was little chance she would ever escape her insular rural community, let alone one day work on TV. Danielle accepted her simple, quiet life that lay ahead, and decades went by. By 29, she was married to a man with whom she had 2 children, an Englishman named Robert Strong. While Danielle seemed to have let go of her dreams, at least she settled into a peaceful, if quiet, home life. Meanwhile, she was working as a manager at an antique shop. There wasn't much exciting going on with her, but then things started changing, and very fast. Danielle's career took off as she began filming for American Pickers, as it fast shot up the rankings. Danielle now wasn't just spending her days behind the counter of a dusty store. Almost overnight, she became a micro-celebrity. How did she feel about this? Well, Danielle was thrilled. She had worked hard for years to get to this point. Unfortunately, her husband didn't appreciate this new fame quite as much as she did. Robert began resenting the attention Danielle got. He found fame and notoriety difficult to deal with, at least when it wasn't his. Their marriage could not survive the strain of this disagreement, and the two divorced soon after. So what about today? Has Danielle found another fella? You'll have to keep watching to find out. An on-stage controversy. While some TV shows practically invite intense disagreement between fans, American Pickers usually isn't one of them. I mean, there isn't that much to argue about when it comes to antiques. At least, that's what you'd expect. But during season 19, a controversy erupted that would sharply polarize fans. The surprising topic was Aerosmith. It all began with a pickup that seemed routine enough. The show got its hands on the very first Aerosmith van that they toured with. Danielle and her co-workers spent several episodes fixing it up. The catch? They would eventually gift it back to the band, and in person. While this sounds like a heartfelt enough gesture, fans began to raise a fuss about the arc. First of all, the band was beginning a residency in Las Vegas, and most of the screen time seemed dedicated to promoting this venture. And sure, you have to accept some product placement on TV. Many fans thought that this was going too far, and that it was actually insulting to viewers. But few could have imagined the shocking places the episodes would lead. When they gave Aerosmith back the van, sure, they ended up with a sizable amount of screen time, but viewers also had beef with how these scenes went down. Many of the issues was with our chosen cast member, Danielle Colby. Fans accused Danielle of not taking the already silly episode seriously enough. In fact, Danielle was shown during the season finale making a dubious effort at tearing up at just how emotional the whole scenario was. But not so fast. Life isn't always as simple as it appears on TV. And some viewers, after spending some time looking over the scenes with Danielle and the band, well, they had a completely different issue. They claimed that Steven Tyler, the lead singer of Aerosmith, was completely inappropriate during his scenes with Danielle, even claiming the singer was handsy. And if you're looking for a resolution to this muddy controversy, of course you're out of luck. The season ended and the show picked right back up afterwards like nothing weird ever happened. And if you remember these Aerosmith episodes, get in the comments and tell me your thoughts. Danielle's risque passion. American Pickers is known for being a mostly family-friendly show that fans of junk of all ages can enjoy. So you would expect the show's stars to maintain boring, respectable personal lives. But no, not Danielle Colby. Although she keeps it PG on the show, her personal life isn't quite as simple. While Danielle was finally enjoying her TV success, free from her marriage that was holding her back, it seemed like she should be having the time of her life. But she didn't feel that way, completely satisfied. Being a minor celebrity and working on epic projects wasn't enough, and she didn't know where to turn. But then, in a blink of an eye, something happened that would flip her life upside down. Danielle saw a burlesque performance in Chicago starring Margaret Cho and dancer Satan's Angel. If you're not familiar, burlesque is a racy style of dancing and entertainment, popularized back in the late 1800s as a style of variety show featuring dirty jokes and occasional nudity. And by the early 1900s, there wasn't much focus on the jokes. You see what I'm saying, right? Cover your eyes, kids. Well, burlesque in general lost popularity over the next few decades. But since the 1990s, there has been a resurgence in the performance style. And Danielle was so taken with the burlesque performance, she immediately dove into the community, even beginning dancing herself. And we hear she's a natural. It wasn't long until she created her own professional troupe, performing under the stage name Danny Diesel. Danielle awed audiences with her sensual performances, and it's pretty cool that Danny Diesel was a nickname she originally got from her father. Flash forward to today, Danielle still dances. Take a look at her Instagram. Her career seems more focused on burlesque than TV at this point. She even teaches the basics to other burlesque dancers at her burlesque academy in Chi-Town. And even her daughter dabbles as a professional burlesque dancer too. Talk about keeping it in the family. American Pickers today. Before we get to Danielle, we must say that Fritz has not been a part of American Pickers after he was fired following the 2-year hiatus. He had a back surgery, and as of 2022, he's now at home healing from a stroke. But creator Mike Wolf said that Fritz was welcome to rejoin the show, so that is promising. As for Danielle, fans were delighted to see her a part of the 23rd season of American Pickers, which concluded in March of 2022. She recently posted a selfie with her co-star Mike Wolf, thanking him for the opportunities and saying she is excited to continue working with him. But will the show get picked up again? I'm not sure. Ratings on the history show have declined after Frank's exit became apparent. But who knows? Today, Danielle splits her time between pickin' and her burlesque dancing and teaching. And she seems pretty satisfied posting racy burlesque photos on Instagram, as well as hanging out with really fluffy dogs. In addition to running her burlesque studio, Danielle also dabbles in the clothing industry, opening up a brand called 4 Miles to Memphis. But what about her home life? Well, our sources have indicated that Danielle is married again to a French artist, Alexandre Desmayer, and he actually designed the logo for her clothing brand. Let's just hope he can handle the fame. Cause heck, along with the possibility of a season 24 of Pickers, that fame ain't going away. Danielle's life has never been simple. From an unhopeful childhood to a disastrous first marriage, to an unlikely TV career, it seems life has thrown her one curveball after another. But she has never backed down from a challenge, and for better or worse, she's never been scared to be herself. Strut your stuff, Danielle. Olivia Black only appeared on Pawn Stars for 13 episodes, but that was more than enough time to make her mark on audiences. It didn't take long for this tattooed beauty to win the friendship of Chumley, the respect of Rick, and the hearts of viewers. But those 13 episodes ended up being all we'd see of Olivia. So people all over the country wondered what happened to her. Now, new information has come to light, and the true story has finally been revealed. So why was Olivia Black fired from Pawn Stars? What's the real truth behind her raunchy, racy past? And finally, where is she today? We're gonna find out all these answers and more, as our story involves backlot betrayal, shocking transformations, and of course, dark, X-rated truths. Finally, the untold past of Olivia Black will be revealed, along with some shocking facts about what goes on behind the scenes on Pawn Stars. Before we dive in, make sure to give this video a thumbs up to help it circulate, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Now, are you ready? Well, let's go find out. What happened? The new hire. The Harrisons and Chumley are obviously the biggest players on Pawn Stars, but there are dozens of other people that make the shop and the show run smoothly. One such person was the charming Olivia Black, who emerged from the blurry masses of the Pawn Star in season 5. When Olivia first walked into the office, they knew they had something special in the suave, down-to-earth lady. They quickly decided to give Olivia a shot, and she was hired for the night shift. Of course, Chumley took it upon himself to train her, claiming he wasn't just trying to hit on her, although I'm just not sure I believe him. And from that point on, she was a somewhat regular figure on the show, alongside the boys, of course. And it honestly appeared like she might play an even bigger role in the future. But 13 episodes would be all for Olivia. After that, she disappeared from Pawn Stars forever. So, who really was this enigmatic woman, and why did she vanish? Dark secrets. While Pawn Stars is an institution to both the Pawn Star and TV industries, Olivia had no background in either. She claimed to know next to nothing about the shop itself, just having found the position on Craigslist. In fact, she had no idea she was going to be on TV at all. So how exactly did she end up there? Well, there were some dark secrets in Olivia's past, of which the boys were totally oblivious. But it wouldn't be long until they, as well as the rest of the world, would learn the shocking truth about Olivia's dark past. Because it seemed like Olivia earned herself a consistent spot on Pawn Stars, but in 2012, everything changed in the blink of an eye, when a newspaper leaked some shocking information, saying that Olivia's prior employment was a little more than just an executive assistant, that Olivia Black had an X-rated background, and nobody had any idea at the time. So how did they miss it, and how did she end up on Pawn Stars? Olivia's story. Little is known about Olivia's early life. However, we do know this, that in 2004, just after turning 18, Olivia began her career. But this career had little to do with TV, because she decided to make a living in a much different way. She found work as an exotic dancer and a model, as well as a pole dancing instructor, and not long after that, she began making nude content for Suicide Girls, an adult website. So how did this little fact apparently evade the production company behind Pawn Stars? Well, Olivia had performed under a different name. But if having your nude photos revealed to the world isn't bad enough, Olivia got some much worse news. Almost immediately after the revelation, Olivia was fired from Pawn Stars. And this messy story would only get messier from here. The fallout. It was actually Olivia who made the first public announcement regarding the scandal, saying she would no longer be appearing on Pawn Stars. It wasn't immediately clear why she was forced out of the show, but of course now it's not hard to figure it out. But was it actually the shop that pulled the trigger? Well, when Olivia was fired, she was vague about the details, saying that she was never given a reason why she was fired. Then Rick Harrison came out saying he never actually fired her. So what the heck was going on? Well, the truth came out. It was not Rick that canned Olivia. It was the production company behind Pawn Stars, deciding she could not be on the show anymore. Olivia also made sure to say publicly that the guys had no say in the decision. Because of this, it turns out she was actually still employed at the shop, just not on camera. But not long after that, Olivia resigned from the store as well. It turns out she was out for blood, and nobody knew what her next move would be. But one thing was for sure, she was not going to take her firing lying down. Revenge. Olivia Black immediately began firing on all cylinders behind the suits who axed her. She said it was hypocritical and completely unfair for her to lose her job for behavior outside of the realm of the show. But that's not all. In 2013, it was reported that Olivia was suing the production company behind Pawn Stars for wrongful termination. As a bonus, she started a petition on change.org, attempting to build public support so she could receive her job back. While she had suffered an enormous setback, Olivia had big dreams, and she was not going to let anybody stop her from rising even higher this time. But Olivia's plans did not exactly turn out how she wanted. So where is the disgraced star today? Where is Olivia now? The details behind the suit were not revealed to the public, but it doesn't appear to have been successful. Despite her own intentions of having her own reality TV show, Olivia ended up not pursuing a career in mainstream TV. In fact, she has returned to her old lifestyle of making less than family-friendly content, working as a cam girl and a go-go dancer. But that's not all. Olivia even returned to the adult website that got her in hot water in the first place. This time around, she wasn't on her own. In 2015, she began making adult content with her new girlfriend, Maria Plaza, who is actually better known in the industry as the Bare Naked Chef. No, not Gordon Ramsay, even though he takes his shirt off on plenty of episodes. Hey Gordon, why do you do that? Why do you do that? So Olivia Black has gone beyond just pictures, diving fully into the world of adult film. And hey, we have no shame in the game here. As long as Olivia is happy and making money, good for her. But this is why she was fired from Pawn Stars. And I'm just gonna say, I guess we're lucky it was her and not Chumley that took this path. There is still more mystery in the sordid story of Olivia Black. While she and Maria continued to make content well into 2019, they don't seem to be continuing on their adult journey. In fact, their pages have largely been scrubbed from the internet. So has Olivia begun performing under a new name? Or has she fully disappeared from the adult film world? Is she ready to begin from scratch again? And will we ever see Olivia Black back on reality TV? Our world is rife with cameras, whether in public or at home. It seems we're being watched 24/7. And if we're not being observed, we're probably watching somebody else. But a surprising side effect of this is that the more cameras there are, the more versions of the story that appear. Olivia Black tried to live two lives behind two very different cameras. But she was unfortunately unable to unite these two parts of herself. If you were outside and you saw an alligator, what would be your reaction?
No. Wait.
Most likely your answer is, get me the hell out of here. Or how did I get to Louisiana? But there's also a select group of people, some awesome chosen people, who would have a different reaction. Oh yeah, that's right, I'm talking about the cast of Swamp People. Cause ever since that show began airing over a decade ago, it has been a sensation. So much so that the demand and cost of gator meat has risen measurably. While the ostensible star of the show is Troy Landry, veteran gator hunter, crank, and generally agreeable old coot. But the real heart of the show is Cheyenne Wheat, or as she's affectionately known by most, Pickle Wheat. While most swamp people look exactly like, swamp people, Cheyenne Pickle Wheat has won over viewers all over the world by showing you don't need to be a creature from the Black Lagoon to do the dirty work of gator hunting. But just as gators lurk in the murky swamps of Louisiana, so too do mysterious secrets about Pickle's real life, beyond what the producers of Swamp People want to show you. So today, we're going fishing, but not for fish, or even for gators, but for facts. How did Cheyenne get into gator hunting? Are the rumors about her and Chase Landry true? Or has she lured another boo from the bayou? What is Pickle up to today? Let's answer all these questions and more, so buckle up and get ready for a twisted journey involving frog legs, mystery baby mamas, and of course, a lot of gators. If you enjoy our deep dive into a swamp, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Are you ready? Now let's go find out.
What happened?
Is Cheyenne dating Chase Landry? If you've ever seen an episode of Swamp People, then you're certainly familiar with Chase Landry and his father, Troy. Troy Landry is known for being king of the swamp and the lovable curmudgeon of the show. But his son has also shown that he can pull his weight out in the swamps, as both a gator expert and a sharpshooter. But Chase, of course, does more than just shoot gators. So what is he up to when the cameras stop? And was he really involved with Pickle Wheat? So we have a good idea of at least one thing Chase was doing when Swamp People wasn't filming, and that's because in 2017 he had a daughter. Chase was delighted by this new stage of his life, and Troy made sure to let his fans know how things were going with the baby. But Chase had also been incredibly secretive about the identity of the mother. Whoever she is, she clearly wants nothing to do with the media. And in case you're wondering, the mother is definitely not Cheyenne, who had yet to join the show at that point. But Chase must have made a decent looking dad, because in 2020, soon after joining Swamp People, Cheyenne changed her Facebook status to in a relationship with Chase Landry. The two posted plenty of pictures together, and it didn't seem like a casual fling, especially considering that Chase was now a father and couldn't afford to mess around with casual romances. And Pickle wasn't just close with Chase, she was also very close to his father, Troy. So what happened? Are they still together? Well, unfortunately, we don't really know. In an era where cameras and phones are ubiquitous, people don't even eat a slice of pizza without posting it online. But somehow, Pickle and Chase have kept the world in the dark about whether they are still dating or not. Some fans think they broke up. Many of their pictures together have been unceremoniously deleted. But some others think this is just Chase's effort to live in a tech and drama-free life outside of the prying eye of the public. Until season 14 of Swamp People debuts, there's very little we have to go on regarding their status. But if you're disappointed, maybe think twice. Part of the appeal about the stars of Swamp People is that they live an incredibly different lifestyle than most of America. These people go outside and they hunt alligators with guns. So if you want daily updates on who's dating who, well, maybe the swamps of southern Louisiana aren't the best place to look. What's Cheyenne Pickle Wheat up to today? While watching TV is just about my favorite thing in the world to do, besides drinking beer with a couple of buds, I will admit that a lot of the time, what you see on screen isn't exactly the most accurate depiction of reality. When I learned that Paula Abdul was not, as I was led to believe, in a strange relationship with an animated hypersexual cat, Boy, was I crushed, I'll tell ya. But what about a show like Swamp People? Is Pickle really the gator blasting badass that she is on screen when the cameras aren't rolling? Fortunately, it seems like Pickle is the real deal. When she's not busy gator hunting, in fact, Pickle's favorite activity is another type of hunting. Anything that will fit into a rifle sight. Pickle is an avid hunter of deer, hogs, turkeys, and even frogs. But don't get to thinking that Pickle is all killing all the time. Beyond hunting, Pickle likes to keep busy in the great outdoors however she can. The gal has even brewed her own mulberry wine. And when she's not filming Swamp People, Pickle is keeping engaged with her fans. For example, she put on a virtual Let's Cook a Gator event for all the people out there. So if you've got an alligator in your fridge that you just don't know what to do with, Pickle will help you out. Just check out her YouTube channel and you can see her and her mom butcher a deer while trying to keep the dog out of the kitchen. It's really pretty great stuff. My biggest takeaway, Pickle has great taste in frog legs. My brothers and I used to go catch them in the creek and fry them up for dinner. I highly recommend them. They taste like chicken. So get in the comments and tell me how you cook your frog legs. Did Cheyenne quit Swamp People? While Swamp People has survived over a decade, longer than most TV shows, Pickle, of course, has only been part of 2 of them, and fans are clamoring for more episodes featuring their favorite gator hunting gal. But not so fast. While some cast members have been consistently featured on the show, many others have not been so lucky. For example, just before season 7 of the show aired, a new production company took over and the majority of its cast was replaced, with little notice given to the stars or the fans. It's not ridiculous to think that something similar could happen or could have already happened. Add to that the pervasive rumors that a pivotal cast member tragically died, and you've got a bad forecast for the next season. But rumors are just that, rumors, right? So what's the real truth about Pickle's future on Swamp People? Well, the most recent episode, the last one of season 13, aired on January 27th, 2022. Since then, it's been radio silence from the team behind the show, and its stars on whether a new season has been in the works. But meanwhile, something much more dramatic was happening with the show's cast. Rumors were swirling around the Swampverse that Troy Landry had suddenly and tragically passed away. Honestly, I expected this whole thing to be made up, but what I found was shocking. Mr. Landry was indeed recently diagnosed with prostate cancer. He underwent a very dangerous surgery to have his entire prostate removed. However, Troy survived the surgery and seemed to be in good health afterwards. So at the end of the day, we don't have a ton of evidence about the future of Swamp People, but here's to hoping she did not quit the show. While I did not grow up in the bayou, I did grow up out in the boonies, the sticks, whatever you want to call it. The type of place you don't call 911, you know what I mean. I'm sure many of you can relate. It's just a different lifestyle in these rural areas. People may be rougher around the edges. There's a lot of grueling work that goes in, but these people are just as kind once you get to know them. And at least you know your neighbor will have your back when it comes down to it. But that way of life is slowly dying all around the country. Even people in the sticks are more and more dependent on their phones. Less friendly with their neighbors. Kids barely play outside at the park anymore, let alone the murky swamps of southern Louisiana. But then there's one young woman who's keeping the country way of life sure alive. And that's Pickle Wheat. Maybe more than anybody else, she's embodied the classic country girl on TV. And by doing so, she's spread her culture to millions of people all around the world. Pickle Wheat has never been afraid to get down and dirty to get the job done, and she can sure as hell hang with the guys. But at the same time, she does things gracefully and with a cute smile on her face. Let's just all hope we get another season of Swamp People so Pickle can keep doing her thing. Storage Wars, an unlikely hit. If you're not already a fan, Storage Wars is an immensely popular show that began airing in 2010. The premise doesn't sound like the most exciting thing in the world, but hear me out. In the state of California, if somebody doesn't pay rent at their storage locker for more than 3 months, the facility can sell it at auction. And because of this, there are professional buyers who bid on these lockers. Some own their own thrift shops and use the contents to fill them out. But here's the catch. Before each locker is auctioned, the buyers are given 5 minutes to inspect the contents from the doorway, but they may not enter the locker or touch any of the items. And Storage Wars follows a group of storage buyers as they go around the country bidding on auctions. And believe it or not, the show is really entertaining and has attracted a massive following. But the show also got popular because the crazy interpersonal drama, and when some really interesting characters have their livelihood at stake. Yeah, things are gonna get messy, and Storage Wars has no shortage of captivating characters. You got Dave, the sometimes villain of the show, whose mocking attitude and catchphrase, "yup," have attracted his fair share of love and hate. And then there's Daryl, the eccentric gambler who has a catchphrase of his own. But more than any other personality, fans flocked to Brandi Passante. Brandi, along with her longtime lover and business partner Jared, developed a reputation for being calculating, charismatic, and X-rated. And out of all the bargain hunters that graced the screen of Storage Wars, Brandi Passante burned the brightest. But some might also say she fell the hardest. If you enjoyed the video, you gotta smash that thumbs up icon. And subscribe to the channel for more. But now, come on, let's go find out
What happened?
Who is Brandi Passante? Passante was born in Texas in 1980. Now, Brandi is a deeply private person, and through her career has fought to keep her personal life separate from her life on screen. And because of this, there is very little known about Brandi's early history. What we do know is she didn't have an easy time growing up.
Tumultuous childhood, tumultuous adulthood. I think maybe that is why I'm funny, because if I'm not, then what else do I have kind of scenario. You know, I would just be a big drag.
At some point, she had 2 children who she raised by herself. In 1999, at the age of 19, Brandi got her first job at a carpet cleaning business. Also working there was Jared Schultz. The circumstances of how they got together are murky, as the two tell conflicting stories about who pursued who.
We worked together. Jared followed me around like a puppy dog.
Oh! Stop it.
And
Stop it.
he broke me down.
She pretty much stalked me like 3 months, and at that stage in my life, I mean, I have pretty low standards, so I pretty much grab on to anything.
When the pair was together, it seemed like harmless teasing, but could it hint at a darker, more strained relationship underneath? Years later, the two had moved to different careers, but then Jared lost his job in the housing market crash and got a tip from his aunt about storage facility bidding, and they became successful enough to open their own thrift shop in Orange, California. Because of their flourishing business, the two were approached by producers of Storage Wars. Little did they know they would become the biggest stars the show had to offer. On Storage Wars, Brandi became famous because of her chemistry with Jared. Sometimes it was volatile. The two verbally sparred with each other just as much as they did with the show's villains, and Jared quickly developed a reputation for a sharp temper, with Brandi being a bit more mellow but still a fierce partner. Brandi became famous and a role model for those people who thought single mothers could really have it all. Take care of the kids, have a loving relationship, and a fulfilling career. Being a single mom or working at a thrift shop didn't have to be boring or disappointing. Brandi believed you can be these things and still have genuine personality and charisma and success. She's given real advice, saying that being a stay-at-home mother is difficult, explaining she felt alienated and depressed without a career. Further explaining, quote, "I think I'm a better parent because I work. I'm happier because of it." And fans of Storage Wars certainly agree. Together, Jared and Brandi came to be known as the Young Guns, on account of their powerful bidding and bluffing skills, despite their relative youth and inexperience. Brandi Passante truly seemed to have it all. She had come from a rough background and made herself into a star. But could this happiness last forever? And was her shiny image truly all it seemed? A happy ending? As fans prepared for season 10 of Storage Wars, Brandi's fans were shocked to see that Brandi and Jared would not be appearing on that season. So what happened? Well, as it turned out, instead of staying on Storage Wars, the couple would be sharing a new spin-off show titled Storage Wars: Married to the Job. And fans who supported the couple's relationship and dynamic were delighted to watch Brandi and Jared tie the knot on the first episode.
You really gonna do this?
Yeah, because I love you. Let's get married.
Okay.
And it seemed like it was time to ride off into the sunset. But behind the scenes, Brandi was dealing with more than her airbrushed on-screen persona would lead you to believe. She began sacrificing more and more of her personal life as her fame grew. She found herself missing important milestones like her daughter's first day of kindergarten. She also found that this new show strained her relationship with Jared in unprecedented ways. They had more time to themselves than they had while collaborating on this new spinoff. In an interview with California's Time Standard, Brandi said, quote, "Working together as a couple every day is quite an obstacle to overcome. We're together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to make business decisions together. And along with this personal drama, there were two big catches that would change Brandi's life forever. Remember how I told you Brandi likes to separate her private life from her on-screen life? I wasn't kidding. Although the two staged a wedding on that first episode, they weren't actually married in real life. It was all for the show. And the second catch is that fans didn't seem to resonate with Brandi and Jared's domestic dynamic nearly as much as they appreciated the couple's fiery sparring on Storage Wars. And the promising spinoff fizzled out after just 8 episodes. Things were not looking up for Brandi Passante. Big trouble for Brandi. In 2020, Brandi made a shocking announcement on a podcast. She and Jared had officially split up 2 years ago. However, to attentive or nosy fans, depending on how you look at it, this wasn't a huge surprise. Jared had been posting pictures with a woman who appeared to be a new girlfriend, and Brandi was nowhere to be seen. And so obviously now Brandi posted several pictures on Instagram with another unknown man. In short, everything in Brandi's romantic life was now up in the air. It seemed she was sliding back into the turmoil of her early life that she had tried so hard to bury. But as they say, the show must go on. And although Married to the Job got the axe, the two fortunately still had a home at the original Storage Wars. And during season 13, the two were on the show, but not as a couple. And of course it led to a lot of tension on the set. They frankly did not get along. As if things could really get worse, the tension from the show now spilled over to Brandi's personal life. In 2021, Brandi and Jared happened to be at the same bar in Orange County. Hey, no big deal, right? The two were still co-starring on the same TV show, but no, things got nasty pretty quick. They began arguing, and Jared reportedly began screaming at Brandi, and then shoved her twice before fleeing the bar. The Orange County DA agrees that Jared went too far and charged him with domestic battery. Who could have guessed a decade ago, watching the couple bicker on Storage Wars, that things would continue to worsen? Behind the glitzy sheen of Brandi's life depicted in Storage Wars, there may have been darkness lurking underneath. Did she really have it all? Or was she struggling with violence and demons throughout? These recent details seem to suggest the latter. There's one more story that is crucial to understanding Brandi's life story. In the fall of 2012, a video was posted to an adult website with a woman who appeared to be Brandi Passante. However, the video was a fake. The owner of the website admitted that the actress was impersonating Brandi. This clearly was not enough of an apology for Brandi, who, as a single mother, was understandably shocked, confused, and horrified. She responded by suing the site's owner, Hunter Moore, for $2.5 million. Well, on one hand, Brandi won the lawsuit, but she didn't end up rolling in the millions she had hoped for. The judge granted her a mere $750. 2.5 might be too much, but 750 is quite too low. Where is Brandi now? Brandi Passante wanted to be the woman who had it all, a flourishing career and a private, satisfying social life where she could raise her 2 kids in peace. Fortunately, Brandi is back on her feet. After adapting to the tense dynamic with Jared during season 13, she persevered and is on season 14 of Storage Wars 2. And she seems to find meaning in work outside of the show too. She spends a lot of time and effort working with the charitable organization Women's Own Worth, which helps victims of domestic violence and survivors of violent crime. And Brandi continues to be a loving mother to her 2 children. Only time will tell what cards will be dealt. But you know what? I think I'm bidding on Brandi. When people talk about MythBusters, they often only think of the main hosts, Adam and Jamie. But real fans of the show will also fondly remember Kari Byron. Kari made MythBusters possible by running the build team, creating the equipment needed to test whatever wild theory the hosts come up with. Over the course of the show, the build team has used 12 tons of explosives, literally found a needle in a haystack, and done countless other zany stunts that were only possible with Kari's expertise. But while you might think you know Kari pretty well, it turns out there's a lot to her that wasn't portrayed on the show. From unexpected beginnings in India, to her surprising phobia, and her dramatic exit from the show. But how many of these are rumors? How many of them are plausible? How many of them are true? And how many of them are good old myths? Well, put your safety goggles on and your earplugs in, because today we're going to bust some explosive myths about Kari Byron. If you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a premiere. Now it's time to gear up and head on out to find out exactly what happened! Myth. Kari was a successful engineer before MythBusters. Watching MythBusters, you'd certainly think Kari had a background in engineering or science, or at least TV hosting. After all, the show is known for being one of the most popular and reputable science education shows. But in reality, Kari's past was much different than you might think. In fact, it's a miracle she even got on the show at all. When Kari graduated from San Francisco State University with a degree in film and sculpture, she had no idea what she wanted to do with her life. She spent a year backpacking in South Asia and working on art projects. Kari could have gotten a job in the film industry and settled down. But Kari wouldn't take any job. She heard about the special effects lab that would eventually host MythBusters and decided right away that she wanted in. Wanted it so bad she began showing up every day to the studio, not taking no for an answer. All she had in her file were pictures of sculptures she had made. But it was lucky the boss was something of a sculpture fan. And there was one he liked enough that he relented and told her she could work there, but as an unpaid intern. So if you're like me, just hearing unpaid intern makes you want to throw up. But Kari was dedicated. She took the job, or internship, and had to work countless hours on the side to make ends meet. Thankfully, eventually she got paid. The show paid her $100 to 3D scan her butt so they could test whether suction could pull a person out of an airplane toilet. All of that sounds like more than I could take, but Kari persisted, and finally was given a paid role on the show. Consider this myth busted. Myth. Kari and Tori Belleci had a secret relationship on set. When Kari got famous for leading the build team, she did so with her co-host, Tori Belleci. The two were a very popular pair, not just for building test materials, they also built up a lot of chemistry in their time working together. This has led fans to speculate for years there has to be something going on between those two, right? Bzzzt, wrong? No way. Well, at least as Kari tells it, there was never any romantic feelings between her and her co-host. If you don't believe her, there's more facts to back up her case. Kari had been in a long-term relationship with Paul Urich even before the show aired. He's an artist, and the two got married in 2006, and in 2009 they had a daughter. Myth busted. So that's all, right? Happily ever after? Not so fast. The story doesn't end there. At some point, Kari and her husband began drifting apart, and in 2019, she sadly sued Urich for separation. So while we assume Belleci isn't in the picture, Kari is also a very private person, so anything is possible. But one thing is clear. No matter who she's seeing, Kari's story is far from over.
I think they are underestimating my destructive powers.
Myth. Kari Byron has a fear of technology. Okay, this has to be false, right? I mean, Kari made a career out of her skill with manipulating technology, everything from launching cannonballs to 3D scanning her buttocks. But remember, Kari didn't have a traditional path to the tech career, and it turns out that the internet has actually been a big issue for Kari for quite a while. She explained that she's always been scared about the effects that technology and the internet can have on people's personal lives. But can you imagine going to work every single day and being surrounded by something that terrifies you? But her problem goes deeper than that too. Kari wrote that when she saw her 19-month-old child successfully use her iPhone to watch a Yo Gabba Gabba video, she knew she had to make a choice. Would she continue to try to avoid social media and risk losing her connection with her daughter, who was the most important person in the world to her, or would she face her fears? And as it turns out, she chose the second option, and even started a Twitter account soon after. While she still has a healthy fear of the internet, she has decided not to let that affect her career and her family life. So I think we can consider this myth confirmed. But what do you think? Was Kari right to do this? How has the internet affected your personal relationships? Sound off in the comments. Myth: Kari Byron was fired from MythBusters. Since you decided to watch this video about this MythBusters star, you've probably had one big question in your mind. Why did Kari leave the show? Fans across the world were outraged when Kari, along with her co-stars Tori Belleci and Grant Imahara, unexpectedly left the cast of MythBusters in 2014. So what was the reason that Kari was pushed out of the job she loved so much?
It's total crap.
The answer, it turns out, is complicated. The executive producer for the show blamed Kari and her co-workers, saying that negotiations for contracts fell through. Did the execs get greedy and decide that Kari just wasn't worth her salary? Or did Kari overplay her hand and ask for too much? It's really anybody's guess, but different sources tell different stories. Kari claimed on Twitter, remember she has one now, that MythBusters was taking a new direction, implying that the bosses didn't want her around anymore. But if this wasn't already messy enough, a third source, Business Insider, claimed that something different happened. They said that half the cast of MythBusters was fired for basically no reason at all. So while we can't know for sure, the answer probably has something to do with money. I mean, Kari sure came a long way from working for free, but if you're a MythBusters superfan, you don't have to worry that there's bad feelings between Kari and her co-stars. That continued with the show. Because Adam and Jamie claim that the three are still very good friends, and they had no role in the negotiations that ousted Kari. And she doesn't seem to hold a grudge either, given that she returned in 2016 to shoot a bonus episode. So consider this myth plausible. Myth: Kari's job almost caused issues with her pregnancy. In 2009, Kari got some huge news. She was pregnant with a baby girl. Now, while I'm sure she was overjoyed, this definitely had the possibility to cause some more complications with her job. But was the situation so serious that it threatened the health of the soon-to-be baby? Okay, so Kari's pregnancy was an issue, and it wasn't just the typical problems with scheduling and baby bumps. No, Kari had a different worry. Her job required her to work with tons of explosives, literally tons, and mountains of missiles, all of which could certainly do damage to a developing child. In fact, when she went to the doctor, she had to ask them, what are the effects of close-range gunshots on a baby's growing ears? How far did she have to keep away from explosives? I mean, I bet your mom didn't have to ask the doctors these questions, right? They were so unique the doctor didn't really know how to answer them, so he got more specialized doctors to help. Fortunately, the story does have a happy ending. The doctor eventually was able to find this information needed, and it turns out a baby develops ears at 5 months. Cool, now I know. And Kari wisely decided to follow his advice. And when her daughter was finally born, there were no problems with the happy tot.
That is right in the range.
As for this myth, we can safely say that it's true. Kari Byron was a star on MythBusters for being a can-do kind of gal.
And we'll see how the tips average out.
I like it.
Whatever crazy question there was to test, Kari was right there with the ammunition to test it. But as we've seen, even a rock star like her has ups and downs, both in her personal life and career. And it just goes to show, behind every single one of us, there's a million myths to be busted. So what do you think about Kari? Do you think she deserved to be canned? Do you think she's telling the truth about the rumors about Tori and her? Or could she be hiding something? And finally, make sure to tell us.
Okay.
What are your favorite wacky MythBusters experiments? Get in the comments and let us know. And before you go, please smash the thumbs up icon. Explode it even, I don't care. Subscribe to the channel and come back often so we can always tell you what happened?